So I'm I so I don't know what happened. Stopped and said it stopped and said hi again. It stopped and said, "Do I need a break?" And when I clicked it, it went away. So I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if that's like a usual thing that happens during live streams, but I'm sorry. So I'm back. So I hope everybody figured out how to get back over here if they were watching. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. And so I'm just going to add this blue in. Oh, is this what happens like normally? Like if there's no activity? I don't know. It seemed like there was activities that like if I don't talk, will it go away or I'm not sure. But we'll figure it out. I'll eventually get better at it. So this is still like a hair greener than I want it to be. So I'm going to add some more white to it and lighten it up a little bit. And kind of add like some more blue. Like if no one chats, there's no audio. Oh, okay. Oh. So I guess I'll have to keep chatting then. Okay. So did everybody have a good weekend? I guess. Well, let's see. How's that looking? Oh, that's looking a lot better. So the good thing about gouache paint is it's easy to go over top of things because it's very opaque. So it's easy to cover up that other darker color. And now that I got this blue in, that other's like looking like way too purple. So I might go back in and adjust that also. I was really upset that Miwa couldn't fit into the original 30 because I really do actually like her as a character. And I was really sad that her and Mekamaru like really didn't get a chance to, actually be happy. So that's something that definitely made me sad about this. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this darker color here and maybe darken her eye up a little bit. Let me get a little bit more of that darker blue and darken it up a little bit so that eye is not looking like quite so purple. It's looking very purple right now. And that is definitely not the cap for that one. So hi everybody. Once again, I really appreciate all you guys coming out. I really definitely did not expect anybody to join. So I was actually really nervous about doing it and still are a little bit nervous about it. So I'm going to go over this a little bit more with this like darker blue and kind of get it like a little bit more blue. Get this a little bit more blue. And oops. And we'll go around with this. Forgot like over here. And I'll put out a vote to see who we should do next for the just doing another live stream like this, who I'm going to paint next, because I had a poll up and you guys chose Miwa for this one. So I'll put up another poll with 4. It only allows me to do 4 characters. So I'll add another character in to the poll that I'll just use the same characters that I used last time, and then I'll add like another one in. So who do you think I should add into the poll for next time? Because I had, was it Junpei and I can't think of off the top of my head who I had in there, but I know definitely Junpei and I'm not sure. But tell me who you want me to add into the mix so I can add another 4th one so you guys can vote. And I think that's about it. Now I'm going to go in and close all these up and go in with the black. And so I need to let this dry just a hair. Actually, so I start with this bottom area down here. And I'm just going to go in with my black and it's kind of tricky with the gouache because you want to really get it wet, but you don't want it too wet so it bleeds everywhere. So kind of getting it wet sometimes, especially to do these lines, is kind of difficult. So you really want to kind of saturate your brush with water, but then really kind of twist it so it's evenly distributed. And there. So you definitely want to make sure your areas are dry when you do this, because if you start to do this and the colors are still wet, it's definitely going to bleed. So thinking, yeah, I actually need to paint over this line a little bit because I didn't paint far. Well, actually, I think it'll be enough. Hopefully. We'll see once I pull it off. And it's definitely a lot easier to paint, once again, on paper than it is. Let's get her mouth. And actually was able to fit her nose in a little bit right there. And I made a little mistake right there, so I'm gonna have to get the skin tone out and repaint that. And there's actually a line right here. And I really hate these paintbrushes. I had some paintbrushes that I absolutely loved and I would order them all the time. And they still have them available on Amazon, but they changed the manufacturer, I guess. So the quality on them is pretty bad. And I haven't found any good brushes to replace them, but I love those other brushes so much. So hopefully I can find some other ones because they were really great about keeping the tips, even though, because I have a bad habit also with my brushes that I mix my paints with my brushes, which is terrible. But again, I kind of get in the flow and it's hard for me to stop and grab like a palette knife or something to mix my paint with. So the other ones like kept a point even though even when I took care of them terrible. So I feel like I'm going to look at the picture again. So I feel like I'm missing like a spot with her. I think I'm going to, it goes down a little bit maybe. And I need to go in and made her eyelashes a little bit too thick. And that's not quite solid black in the original picture. Probably should have looked at the reference while I was painting. That probably would have really helped me. And let's do her bottom lash line. And she's got a couple little lashes that come off. And let me, actually, I'm going to go ahead. Let me finish off with this color that I'm using right now. I'm going to finish off with the black, and then I got a couple of spots to trim up and fix. And go over her eyebrow. And now that her hair is dry, I can go ahead and start going over it. So, and I have too much water in my paintbrush right there. So I'm gonna dab my paintbrush and then go back in a little bit. And now I don't have enough water in my paintbrush. So it's really hard sometimes to get the correct balance. So I'll have to go over this one again. And she's got like a couple, actually she's got a couple like little lighter spots. So I'll go in and add those. And I actually have done one Apothecary Diaries. I did a Mau Mau on back in February when I did a I did all romance or romance manga for February. And I know like Apothecary Diaries is kind of debatable about whether it's a actual romance, but I did it for romance month. But I did a Mau Mau back in February. And it actually turned out really pretty. It's a really great series. I really do enjoy that. And I'm going to, okay, so now I've got all the black in that I'm going to need. So now what I'm going to do is go in with a little bit of my dark blue and add a little bit more dark blue up in this eye area so it's not like a solid black up here. And because it's not quite as solid black in this area, it's kind of like a little bit of a, so I'm just gonna dab in a little bit of this with this lighter blue with a little bit more water than I would normally use because it'll start reactivating that layer of black underneath and start mixing with that. And because I don't want it totally blue, I want it to kind of mingle with that black a little bit. So we got that. And then I'm going to go back in with that skin tone a little bit, and which I don't have anymore apparently. So I need to mix a little bit more of that skin tone. And actually this should work. So I really want to clean my brush off and kind of go back over these lashes a little bit because their lashes aren't quite that thick. They're a little bit longer and thinner. So I'm just going to use this and go over these lashes and make them like a little bit thinner. All right, I got, so now I gotta, hold on, I gotta pull my computer back up. So I just got a phone call. I don't know if that cut it off or not. So I'm still gonna go over and thin out these eyelashes a little bit. And the gouache is really nice because you can go over it thick with not a lot of water and it won't mix with the layers underneath. But if you want it to mix with the layers underneath, you can go in with like a little bit more water and it'll start to blend kind of with the layers underneath. So it's kind of a really versatile medium to use. So I think that looks, actually, no, nope. I need to add some lighter tones to her hair. So I need to add a little bit more white, which I'm going to use my paintbrush to do so I don't get the white on, or the blue onto my white. And I should have just added some to up here. So it's not gonna, that little bit of white is not gonna do much. Okay, hold on. I don't know what that does, like when I get a FaceTime call. My daughter is at camp right now, but her friends call her all the time during the day. So I've got a little bit of a lighter mixture. So I'm going to add some lighter streaks in here. And I think that's a little bit better. And I'm going to start kind of blending some of it out. And might blend a little bit more lighter area up here. And get a little bit more water. Blend some of this up here a little bit lighter. And I think that looks pretty good. So what I will do is, actually I have one book here and it's the Zero book. So while it's kind of drying, I'm going to start cutting it out a little bit. And hopefully it'll start drying soon. And I'll use this book to kind of measure it out. So cut that top area off. And yeah, let it dry just a minute. So we'll flap it off. Yeah, I think this one turned out pretty good. Yeah, she's such a pretty character. And I'm gonna start folding it on. I'm actually gonna get a ruler so I can do it even. So I'm gonna start folding it around the eye area so it'll overhang like a little bit. And I'm just gonna kind of mark where I want it to fold. And I definitely recommend actually folding it before you paint it, which I forgot to do because you do get a little bit of cracking around the edges. And I definitely do need to paint this out a little bit more because I didn't paint out that far on that side. So I have to paint some of this out a little bit further so it takes up the entire book. So we'll have to let that dry just a minute. So I definitely didn't lay that out right. So while that's kind of drying, you can kind of start seeing how it'll look. But you can see, like, if I just painted like the little box area of what's going to be on the front, you can see from the side a little bit. So that's why you want to go over a little bit from the actual box where you're painting it. And the gouache does dry pretty quickly. And this is something that you can, and I'm using, I didn't mention it, but I'm using 180 pounds. Actually, hold on. I'm using Kaisen watercolor paper, which is 140 pounds. So it's a pretty heavyweight watercolor paper. So, but this is something that you could do with any materials that you have at home. If you like to use, you can use, actually, I mean, you can just get regular copy paper and use colored pencils and markers or whatever medium that you like to use. And you can do this for your own books. You don't have to paint. You can do all kinds of different stuff. And you can use regular papers or, and I actually want to try to get a hold of like maybe some like lighter paper, like a mixed media paper, so it's not as quick or thick, and see if it sits better on the books. Because I'm not sure how good like the gouache works with mixed media paper, so I actually want to kind of try that. So maybe I'll do that for next time. So once this dries, I'm going to fold it and put it on there, and it's not quite dry yet, but and we'll vote on the which one. And actually, let me go and look and see, pull up my iPad real quick, and let me see like which books that I did in the poll for the last one. And so that way we can try to figure out like which ones we actually want to do for next time. And definitely, sorry, I gotta log in. So we can figure out who we want to do, who we want to add in for next time. Like, what do you guys think? Um, let's see, who did I use for the post last time? Okay, so for the poll last time, we did Miwa, Euro, Haruta, and Junpei. So I'll add those three, the Euro, Haruta, and Junpei. And who should I add for the fourth one? You guys will have to let me know, or I'll just have to add somebody in. And let's see. If this is dry. I think it's dry enough. So to fold the other edge around, I'm going to kind of just use the book to measure it out. You can also get a ruler out if you like, but I'm going to actually get the ruler to kind of bend it straight a little bit. And you can crease it more if you like. I just kind of usually stick with them like that. But you can see like it still kind of hangs over the outside. So that's why you want to make sure you paint the outer edges. But I think it turned out pretty good. And well, I appreciate you guys joining me, and definitely next time. All right, thanks for watching. Bye, you guys.